Simon Told Helen wins a half length. Zach Manelli second.
Welcome to Greyhound Gossip.
Peaky Blinders start cheering for Tommy Shelby wins the WA Sprint Championship final.
Featuring Peter O'Neill and Leia Ernest.
Mozza moves up to Mermaid Manelli. Fab's Gem 3 deep. Here comes Fab's Gem.
Hard style Rico by 5 lengths to Simon Told Helen. Third Tommy Shelby.
This segment is dedicated to the discussion and promotion of greyhound racing.
Cindy's Oliver, Rockstar Patriot, Paul Stewart, back to back with Rockstar Patriot in the Galaxy.
Handsome Prince, a boulder clear. The former Tasmanian Handsome Prince has won the $1 million chase.
And a very good morning, everyone tuned into Greyhound Gossip, and a very good morning to you, today, Peter O'Neill.
And a very good morning to you, Leia. Good morning, everyone. It was a big weekend of greyhound racing, although no Group 1s over the weekend here in Perth. A little bit of a letdown after the Perth Cup last week.
Yes, but there was still plenty of racing happening. We saw Firecloud that won again after taking out the Galaxy, and we had a pretty big weekend with Cody and Brittany tying the knot. Pete, and you were in attendance. Were you best on ground?
No, I wasn't best on ground. There's when you go out with greyhound people, you need to know how to party, and they sort of left me behind. But it was a really good, beautiful service for Cody and Brittany. And Cody had his 3 children walk down the aisle in front of the bridal party, and he broke down in tears. He's got a real soft heart, Cody, so he was in tears before Brittany even got there. And when he saw her, he burst into tears again. So it was a beautiful service, and it was out on a little country farm out in Oakford, I suppose you would call the area. And there was a bit of lightning and in the distance, so it was a nice setting and a really nice night, and great to catch up with some of the greyhound industry as well.
Oh, that's fantastic, and I'm sure they partied hard throughout the night as well. And now, speaking of a man that loves to party, I'm sure one of the greats in greyhound racing is about to join us on the show when I speak of Jason Lincoln.
Now on Greyhound Gossip, we welcome the greyhound guru, Jason Lincoln, from Sky Racing.
She's a pearl in full flight at the home turn. She led it by 6 on Coast Model. Richard Otter getting up on the inside. But this is greatness from a champion. She's a pearl wins the $1 million chase.
And a very good morning to you, Jason. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Yeah, good morning or afternoon, wherever we find you, Leia, and to you, Pedro. Hope you're well, brother.
Yeah, I am, and I'm glad to hear that you are as well, and you would have been pleased to see that She's a Pearl took the first step in winning her heat the other night in the Golden Easter eggs. We might go through those heats, and I want to also touch on the Sandgroper with you, but what did you make of her heat win the other night in 29.96?
Ugly, but she won. That's the main thing. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what you could say. It was probably her least impressive performance. I think it is actually her slowest winning time ever at Wentworth Park, 29.96. Blew the start, which is a bit of a common occurrence when she draws low, which is why we prefer when she's in the middle. And then just drove a run that really wasn't sort of there at the first turn, but fortunately she created a bit of room for herself and set the race up before just holding off Battleborn late. Yeah, like I said, you wouldn't win any marks for style, but got it done, Pete. Can't be there if you don't win or you don't qualify.
No, that's for sure. And can you take us back 12 months? I'm sure you would remember her heat win last year. She went 29.82, so time wasn't much quicker, but then she went considerably quicker in the semi-finals.
Time wasn't, pardon me, time wasn't much quicker, but the manner of the win was significantly different. Going back to the first round last year, I think she beat, who did she beat? I think she beat Good Odds Cash, didn't she, in the heat at the egg last year? Yeah, she did. She went 29.47, in fact. So, yeah, look, there was a good bit of depth in the race there on Saturday night, so it took some winning. I mean, Baby JC and Mortified and no pushovers, but I don't think either of those dogs rocked up in the best of their form either. So, yeah, it was a funny sort of race where I think most of the big names underperformed. But, yeah, look, like I said, Pete, she won, and I guess only really, really good dogs can not perform at their best and still get away with it.
Well, Andy Lord spoke with us on Greyhound Gossip last week, and he was very up and about, saying that she was going better than what she was 12 months earlier. Have you spoken to him since the heat win?
No. I spoke to Joe this morning, and She'd have come out of the run just, with sort of the normal wear and tear of a race like that, Pete. So, yeah, as I said, it's really just now hopefully we draw to advantage when the draw comes out on Wednesday, because probably as opposed, if you want to make the correlation between how she's going this year and last year, I think what I would say is that really we felt that she was imperious last year, and box draws didn't really matter. They could have put her pretty much anywhere, and the form that she was in, she'd have beaten anything. But this time around, she's 12 months older, and she's not nailing the starters consistently as she was. So we probably will need a few things in our favour, and one of those will be the box draw now, whilst a lot of people would like to see her probably in one or two. I can't speak for all the team, but I much, much prefer when she's drawn in the middle. You have a look how she begins when she's got 4, 5, 6 at Wenny. She comes out like an absolute dart, so that's where I'd prefer to see her.
Okay, and those draws take place tomorrow. Just two others before we go through all of the heats, and we'll touch on Victor Damien, who was the quickest qualifier and very impressive there on Saturday. Comments on Panama Pepper, who finished third behind Windra All Class, and also Custard Manelli, who won his heat.
Yeah, he felt his way around a bit. Not an ideal draw for him, box 8, is it, at the best of times? We know he wants to be down on the fence. And he ran into Energizer Miss and Street of Dreams shortly after the start. Look, the performance in the end wasn't too bad. He's through. He will want a low draw. I'd say he'll derive a lot of benefit from that as well, Pete.
All right, Victor Damien, very, very impressive.
Yeah, hard to not be impressed. You'd have to be an absolute nut job to have come away from Saturday not think he's the best young dog in the country. 29.34 on a deck that, we probably didn't know at that stage. We had a lot of rain leading up to the meeting. As it played out, it is a very, very good drying track, Wentworth Park, and it seems that the times were just not affected at all. He was absolutely stunning on the night. But again, you can still point to the fact that he only went 5.53 to the mark, Pete. So whilst he has run brilliant times thereafter, it's not like he's, for argument's sake, the Pearl of last year where she was coming out in sort of 5.30s and making her own luck. So it'll still be box dependent for him a little bit. You wouldn't want to see him in 5 there on Saturday night with a dog like Windra All Class or one of those wide runners drawn underneath him, but massive motor.
Just before I go to the next heat, Yuko Girl winning for Sammy Sultana. Yep. Are they seeded for going into the semi-final?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. Yuko Girl, what did you make of Sammy's win there?
Typically tradesman-like from her, Pete. If you know Yuko Girl, you know what you're going to get with her. She looked the obvious leader in the race. She actually went the quickest she's ever gone, which is probably, as I said, it's probably his conditions related. A little bit of water on the tracks and slightly humid conditions. At 3.5 years of age, she hasn't become a faster dog all of a sudden. So she's run as good as she's ever run there. And we touched on it in a podcast, Joe and I. You ever look at the amount of feature races that she's contested over the years, Pete? I reckon she's probably made 75 or 80% of the finals.
I think I heard Cat screaming from over here in the west when Belmont Bullets qualified, but Lend Me Dad took out the next heat, the fifth heat of the Golden Easter Egg, which was a fairly open race.
She got one through in the fourth heat as well, Pete. Hurricane's Fury ran third, so she's got 2 through to the next round.
2-3.
I actually said to her after race, you've blown your chance of winning the new sensation now, but she didn't really seem to care. She was pretty happy that she's in the semis, the egg. I was asked by Jacko. He just sort of matter-of-factly said to me when he came down after the last, what'd you think? And my complete and utter overall take of the night was, I didn't know before the series that Lend Me Dad could win the Easter egg, but leaving on Saturday night, he's just about my on-top selection for the series. I was so taken with this dog, Pete. He fronted up in a heat that was chock full of class, chock full of early speed. The manner of the win was stunning. Splits were awesome. I was blown away by him, Lend Me Dad.
Interesting. Zipping Kyrgios for Johnny Finn won, and then we had an upset with Embrace defeating Can You Smoke Them in the next 2 heats.
Yeah, I think what that proved with both of those, and we hammered the point on the coverage, that's just the Wentworth Park form coming through, Pete. Kyrgios was the most experienced Wentworth Park dog in his heat, and he won it. And Embrace was the most experienced Wentworth Park dog in her heat, and she won hers. She got the draw that she wanted, and she went around. Yeah, it's always easy to say after the race, but she went around a really good price for a dog of her ability.
All right, so Fascinate Mel won the last heat and Father Rick won for Raymond Webster. Leia's got the market for us. Leia, let's go through the market with Tab Touch as we go into the semi-finals, and I'll get Jason's thoughts on this.
Well, we've got Victor Damien as the favourite, which is no surprises, but $5 there. She's a Pearl at $6. And then we've got double figures upwards the rest. So Panama Pepper, Windra All Class, Yuko Girl, Elite Alex, all $13, and then $15 upwards the remainder. So we've really only got 2 runners under double figure odds here.
Yeah, I'd agree that Victor Damien's probably the price that he should be. I personally think Pearl's probably a little bit short. As for all the reasons I just put forward, I think Let Me Dad should be the second favourite behind Victor Damien. And there's a couple of dogs that you've mentioned there that I can't see them winning Easter eggs. Windra All Class being one of those, Yuko Girl being another one. But there's a couple of dogs that you didn't get to. I'd be interested what price Fascinate Mel is.
So Fascinate Mel's at $26.
And is there a place price there or just win only?
No, just a win.
Okay. Yeah, look, she'd be worth having something on. She's capable of leading every dog in the series. She'd be consistently the fastest dog to the mark, still left in the series, 4th fastest qualifier overall, 1st fastest split from the heats on Saturday night. So I think she's completely overpriced. Rockstar Apollo, what price is he there?
Ooh, Rockstar Apollo at 26.
Yeah, he'd be another one that would probably interest me a little bit as well. I know he got beat Saturday night, but again, he's got the quality and he can run the sort of time to win you an egg. So, look, there's a couple away from, the seemingly obvious. I wouldn't turn anyone off Victor Damien. Let Me Dad, as I said, is the dog that I'm really hot on at the moment, and I think there's a couple of dogs, and Pearl's one of them that I think are probably a little bit short.
What did you make of the market? So Panama Peppers at 13, Custard Manelli at 17.
Yeah, I think they're probably the right way around. If you watch,
Yeah.
I think so. If you watch the race that Custard Manelli won, and this is not to denigrate him, he's obviously a very good dog, and we wonder how good a dog Crumble Manelli is. But both he and Peacock basically had solo trials. Dog got to the first 2, wiped the rest of them out, and Custard and Peacock basically then just went around on their own. I would have suggested they would have qualified anyway, because for me, they were the best 2 dogs in the race. I think I tipped them Peacock to beat the other dogs. So I had them the other way around. But yeah, don't read what I'm saying the wrong way. I think they'd have qualified anyway, but I don't think we can read too much into what we saw there Saturday night because, they basically just went around on their own.
Well, the fields are going to be interesting when they're drawn tomorrow, and also the box draw, so looking forward to that. Now, let's take a look at what is going to be a very, very interesting Sandgroper, and it's really all the puzzle pieces are really now starting to slot in, and we've got 6 of the slots that have been taken. After Victor Damien's win there on Saturday night, Leia, he certainly has firmed in sharply in the market for the Sandgroper with Tab Touch.
He has, and that was one of the first things I checked post-Easter egg because I thought now Victor Damien is going to be a hot favourite, and he's currently $5 alongside Wow She's Fast. She's a Pearl at $5.50, so she's eased out slightly. Elite Machine at $6, Throttle $6.50, Electrified at $7, and so those are the runners we've got locked in, and then we've got Kelsey Bale at $8, and then double figures upwards the rest with the Rejuvenate at $13. But the last time we had you on, Jason, you did say you didn't think Rejuvenate would be coming over for the Sandgroper.
Yeah, no, and it doesn't look that way at this stage either, unless he gets picked up by the last 2 slot holders. Look, I've got to be 100% honest. It's impossible for you to bet into that market until you know a box draw. I know in Easter egg all-in markets and whatnot, we're doing it blind, but in a hand-picked invitation race where 3/4 of the field have never seen the track under race conditions, it's imperative that you've got a box draw before you have a bet there.
You almost become like a proud father when you hear Leia say that as soon as she's seen Victor Damien win a heat of the Golden Easter egg, she's looking at the market, all-in market going forward for the Sandgroper, Jace.
You've obviously taught her well, Pete.
We've trained her well.
Yeah. Look, I'd make the point about probably 90% of them. 90% of those names you read out, Pete. He could be. You put him in box 1, Victor Damien, and forgetting what's about to happen in the egg. I mean, he could be a $2.50 chance. Conversely, you put him in the pink, and he might be an $8 chance on the night. So, yeah, if you like him, just hold fire.
All right, so we've touched on She's a Pearl, and obviously she goes in. She's the second favourite at the moment for the East Dragon. She runs for Tab Touch in a few weeks' time. Victor Damien, we've spoken about for Ladbrokes, and Wow She's Fast was confirmed by Sportsbet. She had to pass a blood test late last week, Jason. She hasn't been seen since the 18th of February, but it's the racing style of her, isn't it? And Kel and Jackie Greeno to keep her fresh, and you wouldn't be concerned at all, the fact that she's already seen the track at Cannington and she'll come across to Perth and start first up on the 14th of April.
Yeah, well, she's had the experience, that's for sure. And look, Kel's a master trainer. He's not going to send her over unless she's in A1 nick. The concerns are obvious. You've got to, look at it just from an analyst point of view, Pete. The facts are that she didn't travel well over the first time and she didn't trial well, so you'll have that in the back of your mind as a punter on the night. But the one thing that you won't be concerned about is that, Kel won't put her on the plane if she's not 110%, that's for sure.
SEN have picked up Fernando Mick. They signed him up a few weeks ago, the Australian Cup holder, the winner. What did you make of his run in the Shepparton Cup?
Really competitive race. Those country cups in Victoria often are, Pete. You could run them a number of times and get completely different results. I wouldn't hold that performance necessarily against him too much. His recent form's trailed off a little bit. He's just one of those dogs. He gets if you pull up his form and have a quick flick through it, he goes in these little patches where he just goes off every now and again. But again, talk about master trainers, none better than Dave Gill. And when he arrives in Perth, you can be guaranteed that Fernando Mick will be ready to run his best race, that's for sure.
Now, we saw a couple of free-for-all and another race on Saturday night, which had basically some of the runners from the Perth Cup out of that race go around. Electrified, who's been picked up by Total Container Solutions and Elite Machine Ram Racing Syndicate. Hypothetical, and it's very much hypothetical, and I haven't contacted Dave Robertson since he's got out of hospital because he's obviously got some health issues that he's getting on top of, and he's told me that he's doing well, and he's also trying to get Throttle ready. If Throttle doesn't come to hand, who does Team Guest and the Robertsons go for? Is there a WA dog, or do they need to look east?
Well, you're asking my opinion. I would have thought at this late stage, you're pretty much, and this is again just my opinion, I think you'd be pretty much obliged to go with a West Australian dog, unless you were just completely convinced that you found an absolute rocket like JSJ or something like that could just show up sight unseen and still be good enough. But yeah, just thinking off the top of my head, the dogs that might be available. I don't know from an interstate perspective. It's obviously there's most of the dogs that you'd be picking from are pot committed in terms of a golden Easter egg this weekend for starters. So. Yeah, I guess you're pretty much going to have to look as local as you can, Pete, but I don't know. You're across the dogs over there a little bit better than me. It's probably going to take something from a little bit outside the square. So, who would you suggest they'd be looking at?
Well, it does Kelsey Bale come back to WA, depending on how he goes through the Golden Easter Egg series? I don't think so, because, I think much like Dave Hobby, who has said in the press that he's not a fan of slot races, I think Paul Wheeler said a similar thing in the past, and you'll note that I think I'm right in saying there's not been a Wheeler dog in any of the Phoenixes so far. I would go maybe Momentum. He started one of the favourites in the Perth Cup. I noticed that he stepped up to the 600. I noticed that Chris Holst stepped up Quick Smart, who there has been talk that Quick Smart may be the Holst runner, the Team Britain and Friends runner. I've thrown up the stayer numerous times and probably should stop talking about Couch Surfer. But I'm not sure which way they do go, the Holsters, or whether they go to Robert or Jeff Britton on the East Coast and say, do you have a free-for-all dog? And I don't probably follow the Melbourne form close enough to say, do you have a dog quick enough? I still go back to, and I said I wouldn't mention, but I still go back to, if I had the choice of Quick Smart, who's in their kennel at the moment and stepped up over the 600 there on Saturday, or Couch Surfer, I don't think Quick Smart could win the Sandgroper. I think if the race, and there was luck in the race, of the Sandgroper, that Couch Surfer could win it. Yeah, I wholeheartedly disagree. I'm not suggesting Quick Smart could win it either, but I couldn't see Couch Surfer winning it. What I could see is Couch Surfer absolutely earning prize money.
So from that perspective, you could absolutely see him charging home late, maybe into a third or fourth, something like that. So, yeah.
Well, can I just take you back to the Perth Cup?
To shove. Say again, mate.
Can I take you back to the Perth Cup? So if the race, the Sandgroper, was run exactly the same way, I know we've got different dogs in it, it's a hypothetical. If it was run the same way, he misses the jump early, there's that trouble on the first corner, as we saw in the Perth Cup. He's going to shoot through along the fence.
Yeah, I think you're underestimating how fast these genuine elite Group 1 dogs are. In that run to the first turn, Pete. And a dog like him has been going around underestimating it. I don't know. Well, we're not talking about Flake Manelli here. We're not talking about a dog who can break the 200-metre record in a 700. This is not Super Estrella. This is Count Surfer.
We're talking.
Opinions make the world go around. And those dogs are going to be a long way in front of him at the first turn, Pete. That's all I'm saying. He's I don't completely poo-poo it and say he couldn't earn out of the race. He certainly he could, but he wouldn't be able to win. That's for sure.
Okay, so we've got $5 the field, headed up by Victor Damien. Also, Wow, She's Fast, She's a Pearl. You're suggesting to punters just to hold off at the moment, to wait for the box draw.
I just think, I mean, it's a lucky dip at the moment. Like I said, you could take the $5 Victor Damien now. You'll either look like a hero or or the opposite, or a clown after the box draw. Though he draws the pink, he's $8. He draws the red, he's $2.50. So you may as well wait.
Yep. All right. Looking forward to what is going to be a big week of greyhound racing with the Golden Easter Egg semi-finals. And do you have a smart pup making his debut during the week?
Yeah, on Wednesday he's got the 8 in a heat of the Easter Maiden at Wenny, dog called One Hot Bandit. I'm not telling the world anything that Jeff Collison didn't write about the other day. He's trolled real fast, 29.50 odd at Wenny. He's been sort of flying for a little while, and he's had to have him on ice. We've had this race in mind for him for a couple of months now. It's never easy trying to hang on to these really fast dogs and keep them up to race Nick as well. But we get to have a look at him there on Wednesday night, Pete. It's what it's like when they're having their first start. I just hope he gets around safe, to be honest. But race 2, number 8 he is.
All right, looking forward to that. Good luck with him, and good luck next Saturday with She's a Pearl.
Thanks, guys.
Jason Lincoln joining us later, and it's going to be exciting. Looking forward to your greyhound, of course, Panama Pepper. While you might have sold him, I'm sure you still say that he's yours, and why wouldn't you? He's been a wonderful chaser, and he's currently on the third line of betting for the Rich Golden Easter Egg Series. And, of course, we're not too far away from finding out the last 2 slot positions for Team Guess and also Team Britain and Friends. So it's pretty exciting times, and we're up to Northam today, the first of 11 races back at Northam, which passed the stewards' trials on Saturday. Everything went perfectly, so we're looking forward to getting up there today. The first of 11 gets underway at 1:14.
And Pete, what is the schedule now for greyhound racing with Cannington and Northam now being, good to go?
So Mondays and Thursdays will be Northam, and then we'll be racing at Cannington on Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There'll be trialling at Cannington on Mondays and Thursdays, so it's going to be a busy schedule for all concerned there. But obviously with the track being renovated down at Mandurah, looking forward to that all being concluded. We're probably 5 or 6 months away from that, so there's a lot of work to be done at Cannington, and also the importance of Northam over that 6-month period. So looking forward to it, and I don't mind driving up through the Avon Valley this afternoon, see a few of the old friends up there, and it's a real country atmosphere, and we'll be able to hopefully find a winner or two.
And you might be able to stop at the bakery as well, Pete, your favourite.
Oh, not might. We will definitely be stopping at the bakery. So I'll be getting on the road right now. We'll take a break. We'll get through race day, and I'll talk to you down the line at around about 1:45 this afternoon.
Looking forward to it.